Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
And welcome to this week's Happy Hour. In this meetup, we have a real mishmash of topics to look at. However, there are 4 key topics that we want to talk about with you. And this means that the topics are short, sharp, and to the point.
So we cover with you an update on the latest part of the design course. We then move on to our top tips for getting a great looking logo created, which won't cost you a fortune. And that's actually a spin-off, Matt, of one of the tutorials in the design course.
Yeah, it is. And we also look at outsourcing in general as well in that little slide. So that one's a little bit longer, but we do go into a broader topic for that one.
We then look at something that Matt has called Easy CBT, or cross-border trade. And this is basically where we tell you the easiest way possible to take your business international.
That's right. It doesn't need to be complicated, and actually it's quite straightforward. So if you just stick to English, happy days.
Yeah, we break it down, don't we, and say there's the easy ways and then there's the really hard ways. So open up the easy ways first to sort of dip your toe in the water.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't need to be complicated. And then at the end, we ask you for your feedback and also a fun question as well, which was, if you had a magic wand, what would you change about your business? And that did provoke some very curious replies, didn't it? Shipping came up a few times as well, didn't it, Dave?
Yeah, shipping was an interesting one. And yeah, we had a real sort of range of different areas that business owners like you are sort of wanting help with. And the reason for us asking that question is, if me and Matt can sort of make those bits easier, then we will do.
Yeah, that's right. And again, I just look around at my whiteboard. I've got all those notes on there. And while we may not be able to cover those topics immediately, they're on the whiteboard. And that means that they will get done eventually. So anyway, with that said, enjoy this happy hour. If you want to join in next week, then head over to understandingE.com/happy hour and reserve your place.
It's 100% free to join. And the meetings start on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. and that's GMT time in the UK. Now that's about 12:30 in the afternoon if you're on the western coast of the USA, about 3:30 in the afternoon if you're on the eastern seaboard of the USA, and that will make it about 5:30 a.m. if you're in somewhere like Canberra, Australia.
Indeed. Early morning coffee definitely required.
Yes.
So with that note, go and dive in, enjoy the happy hour. We'll see you on the inside.
So that's the reason for that. So tonight, it is a little bit of a mishmash, and that is a real image which I found on Flickr earlier. It is going to be a little bit of a mishmash because it's a collection of things of what we've been up to. And we're going to be looking for a lot of your feedback this evening, aren't we, Dave?
Yeah, totally. Because like I said, we've got a lot of things to talk about, and we realised that we've not actually... It's been the past few weeks have been a lot of us talking about things, and I know you ask questions at the end of every webinar, but instead we're going to ask you the questions towards the end. So yeah, it's a change.
Yeah, indeed. So tonight's agenda, house rule. We'll cover that in a few moments. Straightforward house rule. So if you're here, this is the first time you've been enjoying us, we have one very simple house rule. We'll get to that in a few moments' time. And tonight's topics are a mishmash. And what we mean by that is there isn't one specific topic. And the things which we're going to be covering is that we've got 2 new tutorials coming out tomorrow for you, which will be the related and upsell items. We've got the logo creation and also outsourcing in general as well, just as a general topic, because that was included in the course which we published on Friday, but we were missing the blog post and Dave's been to finish that, so we managed to get that out as well. Cross-border trade and low-hanging fruit, and this is kind of like a double follow-on. It's a double follow-on from last week and a follow-on from the article which I published on the Last Drop of Ink earlier today. We're also going to be looking for your feedback as well. And one really, really curious question about a magic wand, because this is one of like my favorite questions, and you'll find out why in a few moments, because it's a very curious question. And it helps us get to the bottom of how we can help you the most. And again, we are working to our stripes, and I'm looking around and looking at my whiteboard right now, and I can see that we still have order management written on there. We've still got Amazon on there, and we've still got the website design course written on there. And we're trying not to deviate from those wherever possible, and which we are creating is on that topic, but we do know it will fluctuate. So, a quick little note, thank you for joining us for those who've come in a little bit later on. We're just going through the agenda for this evening. And also we've got any other business tonight, which is some ad hoc YouTube videos, which we recorded them last week or the week before, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah, we did.
10 or so of those on there. And also an update for eBay template tool ready for next week, because I've had the codes back and it looks pretty good. Need to give it some full attention, but this is quite exciting. I'm personally really excited about that because it's very, very cool, but it is not ready to well, I could show you what it looks like, but it won't be that exciting for you until I put in all the other nuts and bolts like preview and the other cool stuff. But I'm really excited about this one because I think it's really cool. And it's version 2. Yes, it is version 2. Version 2 puts you in control. That's the cool thing. So you don't have to worry about my layouts or you're in control. And I really like it just because of that. Yeah, the guy you sent me to, Chris Astley, got my template up and running quick in M2 Pro. Happy days. Yeah, like Chris.
Yeah,
Chris is going to get Chris on as well. So, yeah. I get confused with all your buzzwords. It's like moving on, which is tonight's house rule, which is that there is no such thing as a daft question if you don't know the answer. And that's something which I strongly believe, is that don't struggle in silence. Ask. We're never going to take the rise, the mick, the urine out of you, because if it's a serious question, don't suffer in silence. You may look at me and Dave and think that we're experts for Magento. All we've been and done is break more stuff than you. That's all it is. That's all it boils down to, is that we've seen again with software, we've seen it from your side of the table, we've seen it from third-party software point of view. I've seen very large businesses like Tesco and Office Shoes, and I've seen some really small businesses as well. And the one thing which is common across all of these businesses is that it's okay to ask. Okay, that's the kind of the environment which we want to foster, which is that there is no such thing as a daft question if you don't know the answer. Okay, so
yeah, and just for Steve there, about some of our buzzwords, we had, I think it was one of either Brian from America who was asking us what squash was, because I really heard Matt say squash, and he thought Cheerios was just a cereal. So that's yeah. Ask away. We have lots of crazy words. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it indeed. It doesn't help that I'm Bostonian too, so there is some quite strong Bostonian slang from that English accent. There you go for it. So moving on to tonight's 2 tutorials which are coming out. These are going to be the related items and the upsell items for Magento. And to give you a little sneak preview, why don't I bring up the category page for our rucksack. So in the video tutorials, you've seen us start designing the product page for our Magento website. And let me just go and pop that on my page right now. And what we're going to be showing you how to do is, do you just see the move on your screen? Is the related items block up there on the right-hand side. And also you may also be interested in the following products. Now, these products are a little bit random because we've got absolutely random products on our Magento website. But what's actually happening on these is that there are no related items and there is no upsell products which have been added to this product in Magento. And in fact, we show you how to do that on a one-by-one basis or on a per product basis. But we also know that that's quite tough for you to do because you might have like 1,000 products and it might even just be impossible for you to do this. So we were kind of thinking of you like back at the beginning, and what we've got is some copy and paste code. And if you copy and paste this in, then you'll end up with the same kind of sliders as what we've got here. And we've actually went one stage further on there, which is that we've got the category ID as well. Let me show you how to find the category ID, so you can actually specifically put different products on here onto your product pages as fallback options. And if you can do copy and paste, really straightforward, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, and you'll see in the tutorials themselves, like I said, they're recorded, just need editing, and it's pretty straightforward. It's literally, Matt takes us through the code, what they all mean, and yeah, I think by the end of it, we all will know a little bit of code, not from typing it, but just from Matt explaining to us what it actually does. So yeah, I think it's really cool. And like I said, it's dead easy.
Yeah, indeed. Steve, to answer your question, I'm still confused how many of your free 24-hour tutorials have you released on the Magento website? Is it 2 or 3? I believe it's 3 now, isn't it, Dave?
How free 24? With how many of your free 24 have you released on the? You mean the sections? It's 3 sections, and I think is it coming up to about 30 or 40 tutorials? But yeah, 3 separate sections. We had the preparation section, we had mostly theory, and last week we had product page, and we've still got a couple of ones going out tomorrow, which are from the product page.
Yeah, indeed. So, and again, with some of these tutorials are a little bit longer. Some of them are like 30 minutes, okay? And the reason why they're 30 minutes is because I need for you to feel comfortable in that topic. And then to flip on the reverse side of that, I'm just looking at the time length. Some of them are 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. That one doesn't have any minutes on it at all because we've not published that one. So there are a complete mishmash of times on them. And the reason being is that we'll cover them to the depth which you need, okay? And on the flip side is that if we do need to hang around on a more complex topic or give you alternative options, then we will hang around a little bit longer. So on one side of my table is that I'm concerned that we're already up to 47 tutorials. On the other side, I'm really happy that we're at 47 tutorials already for the course. It's because it's all broken into baby steps. If you can just follow those steps one by one, you will learn how to design a Magento website, and you will go back when you go back and you edit something. It's going to be really familiar to you because you've been following us along while you've been doing it. How many were in the third section? Not entirely sure.
16. And the 2 or 3 that are going out tomorrow, 2 that are going out tomorrow, that'll make it 18 in the third section.
Yeah. So there's quite a few. Now it's all about the product page. So the irony is with the product page, as many of you may have already worked out, is that if you style the product page and you've got 2,000 products, you've just styled 2,000 product pages, and that's like the biggest win. And in fact, the product page is like the hardest page to theme and to manage. And yeah, in the next section, we're going to be covering the categorization and going into some more advanced stuff like these custom blocks, which you can see on my screen right now. But it's really not that hard. It's just categories and static blocks. And you already know about static blocks. And we'll give you some HTML, which you can copy and paste so you can have a block which looks like that in your menu bar if you want it. And there's some really cool things which you can do with the menus as well. So we'll discuss levels of categorization. We'll also get into layered navigation as well, which you should already know about, because if you followed us along in the fundamentals course for Magento, it's really straightforward. Just like hit the box, press save, reindex, job done.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, Matt, about why some of the tutorials in this section are a lot shorter. Is like, for example, the ones that are going out tomorrow, related and upsell. Some of you will know that we already cover those in much more detail in the fundamentals course, and we know that. So the ones that are for the product page, we are literally just showing you how we activate them and configure them on the product page, and we try and skip much more of the introduction to what Related and Upset are. We do a quick recap, but literally we spend a couple of minutes on it, and that's it. And like I said, we do try and keep this the design course to be much more specific to designing your website, because we now know that you guys know much more of the knowledge behind it, and that's the level that you're growing to.
Mm-hmm. David, to answer your question, am I limited to what I can do, being I'm already had a custom template made for me and add some of these things that you're showing? The answer to that is that I don't know what your theme's got. When we say Magento theme, we're sticking with the Ultimo theme because it's just so Matt and Dave proof. However, don't think for one moment is that if you want it was based upon the Ultimo. If it was based upon Ultimo, then yeah, it's the Ultimo theme. There isn't that big. There isn't any massive changes between the versions. Okay, so have a look. See if you've got these custom blocks in your system, for example. Have a look about the tabs as well. Okay, and yes, Steve, I think you're sat as the presenter. Let me take you back off. Good point. Is have a look to see if it's in your system. Okay, so if it's based upon Ultimo, the vast majority of these features should be available to you on your admin and website as well. Okay, again, I've used the Ultimo theme personally on multiple client sites, and the stuff which I've done with the product page specifically, basically I ripped the product page apart and they made it very flat. So instead of having tabs, they were already out in the product page. So it's really flexible. And again, if you want to take it one stage further, you only paid $99 for it. So if you've got any budget left over, then either save it, maybe for a one-step checkout extension, maybe for a marketing extension or something like that, or pay it for some customization. Okay. Ultimento, I've not used that theme before, Dave. So if it's Ultimo, the answer is yes. If it's Ultimento, I don't know. Okay. If it's built by Infortis, then that's the same company, so there will be similarities between them. Okay, so I'm genuinely not sure on that one. Okay, I never had any money left to go in on a Tuesday. Nice one, Steve. Cool. So anyway, in the interest of time, moving on. So there's 2 tutorials come out tomorrow. It will be about the related items and the upsell items down here at the bottom. Really straightforward. So if you can manage copy and paste, it is really straightforward. Yeah, really straightforward. And enough said for that one. Dave, this is your territory, aren't you? And while you're doing that, I will go and have a look up Ultimento in the background.
Okay, no worries. So yes, this week, also I should say, last week we published the 3rd section on the product page, and I think the 2nd guide that we put out there was how to upload your logo to Magento, because as I'm sure you all know, if you have a logo, then the first thing you want to see on your website is your logo. So we cover that off dead early on, and yeah, and me and Matt both realized that actually, if you didn't have a logo, then we didn't want you to get stuck at this point. You can still carry on creating your product page. However, we also, on the same understanding, didn't want you to get ripped off for having a logo designed, because we've all heard of stories where people have paid £500,000 for a logo, and it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, as me and Matt have talked about previously, and we've written blog posts, the Understanding e-logo, which we think's quite good. It looks really nice, and I think it serves its purpose really well. That cost Matt $7.56, I believe.
Yeah, that was right. It was $2 for because the reason being is that why the logo costs so much or so little is because I already had an idea of what I wanted. Okay, and I was very specific in what I wanted. And the thing is that the more specific in what you want, to happen or for what something should look like, even if it's a drawing on the back of a beer mat or a scribble on a piece of paper, which you've then taken a picture with your phone and then in the case of logo creation, given that to a designer to go and make into reality for you. The thing is that the creative part can be really expensive. The miscommunication or misinterpretation of ideas gets costly because that takes up time. But if you walk into the room and say, well, I kind of want something like this, and I want it to look like grass, as the case may be, and I want it to be very earthy, and hang on,
symbolize growth.
Yeah, to symbolize growth. And I wrote all these things down, and I put more effort in than what the designer did. Okay, so basically, I found the font face which I wanted. It was just a file. It cost me $2. Again, if you bought the theme off themeforest.net, there was another website which is run by Envato. It was off there. Thankfully, we can't buy it anymore from our point of view. And I gave it to a designer. I said, look, I want this to say understand the E, and I want the E on the end in an earthy brown. I don't know if I want it capitals. I don't know if I want it like a big lowercase, a small lowercase. And the guy said, fine, let me get you a couple of rough examples across. And we were done within an hour. And that's why it cost me $5.56, because that was an hour of his time to make those changes for me. It was very quick. In fact, I think we were over and done with in about 40 minutes or so, because he made the changes. He got really close. I like that, and that's what you see on Understanding E. And he just went off and finished it off and gave me the finished files back. It's really straightforward.
And that's basically what the blog post is about. I mean, when we decided to write it, Matt was busy getting the cross-border trade piece together, which is a good length for anyone who hasn't read it yet. It's very in-depth. And basically, I started writing it, and me and Matt had a quick brainstorm about the key features of what the message should be, and we broke it down to 3, which was don't be vague, do your homework and pay less, and also crap in equals crap out, which you've heard us say before.
Yeah, I had to reword that to quality in, quality out, because I thought it was maybe a little bit negative. But sorry, just changing the subject slightly. I paid $20 on Fiverr, bargain.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we're talking like £15, £12 for it, for something which can cost $200 in the background or £250 in there. So it's all about everything being in proportion. And
of course,
let's have a look at
it. Get the 404 on that. I got the same. But yeah, so basically in that blog post with the logo, rather than just me tell you what we did, I decided that I would try and mimic the process ourselves. You've heard other Matt in the tutorials use the domain mycoolsite.com, so I decided that I was going to try and design a logo for mycoolsite.com, and in the end, I end up with something not amazing, but at least it's better than nothing, which we can then send to a designer, say, this is the base, this is what I'm looking at. Can I, maybe change the font? I want it to look a little bit like this, add a bit of colour. And then we also had an alternative. And like Matt said, it's all down to relative. For you, paying something like £150 for a logo might be a bargain, just to have lots of choice, in which case something like 99 Designs is a fantastic service which you can look into. If you're a startup and you've got a really limited budget, then literally do as much of it that you can yourself, and then just get an expert to fill in the little bits and pieces.
Indeed. Joe, that's still giving us a 404, unfortunately, for it. I tell you what, is it adding extra links in?
Probably.
Yeah, that looks like percentage 20. You've got a space. Ta-da! There we go.
Oh, nice.
Joe's Pet's Place. 20. If you just paid $20 for that, that's absolutely amazing. Okay, and by the way, what we're discussing here, this scales. Okay, this scales to projects which cost several $1,000s. So the layout builder, which I've been having built in the background, that wasn't cheap. Okay, but the process was exactly the same. Is that I probably spent the same amount of time and effort as what the developer has done to build what I wanted in the background in the time which it took me to specify what I wanted, so that when they picked my specifications up, they knew exactly what I needed to, what I wanted. In the areas where I was grey or a little bit fluffy, I told them, it's point blank, I don't know about this area until this happens. The same thing which happens with staff as well. So if you're looking to outsource parts of your business, is that specify what you want that member of staff to do, and any fluffy areas, say that it's fluffy, that write down what you want that member of staff to do and where you feel they can help you, and then make sure that's realistic that it can. And also have the things which you're not sure upon, say that you're not sure upon. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, they'll be more responsive, because you'll then ask them for their help and their expertise in solving that challenge, whether it's member of staff, whether it's some coding which you're having done, or the logo creation. So Joe down there as well. So if you didn't have the cartoon character for it, yeah, I couldn't do anything like that. But that's probably like second nature for a designer. I'm not very a creative type at all. I can't draw to save my life. Whereas they've done a really good job on that. And by the way, I like the top one, and I also like the one on the bottom right. So yeah,
I
really
was
cool.
typing, for me, concept one is the one that I picked.
Yeah.
So,
it's because of the roof in there.
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, you incorporate both without looking messy.
Yeah, really, really cool. So the logo creation, the point of the thing was that it doesn't have to be expensive. It's okay to scribble something down and take the picture on your phone and then build it up from there. But just remember, that same process scales to much bigger businesses as well, bigger purchases, or even long-standing members of staff as well. Actually write down or draw what you want. Anything which you're unsure upon, put a question mark down, and then hammer out the smaller details afterwards, and that's okay. All right. So, Richard, enjoy the football. I mean, you need to shoot. Changing the topic on further. Oh, actually, Nazir, I paid $40 on Fiverr with all the files and unlimited revisions. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you that one either.
That's super cheap. That's the way that the world should be, in short. And again, it's. I think the characters make it $10 well spent. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally.
But the thing is that you're going in wide open, eyes wide open. You've already done actually the hard part, which is actually say what you want or give an indication of what you want. It's like if you want like a Magento website design from one of like the top agencies, then they'll sit you down and they'll consult with you and they'll do all the fluffy stuff with you. Whereas on your own, and you don't have that kind of budget available, you do need to put that effort in, and it really is quality in, quality out. Okay, you can't expect somebody to come up with like a logo like we saw from Joe's Pets Place a few moments ago. You can't expect someone to come off with that off the cuff with no kind of input from yourself. So these things don't happen by magic. In the background, you've really got to put the effort in your side. So I tell you what, let's move on to the next topic, Dave. Which is
easy
right, cross-border trade. Yeah. So, Dave, do you want to explain this one? Because I've talked too much.
So basically the point of easy cross-border trade, and this was, again, for someone who's seen Matt's post today, this was a sort of a piece of it, which we thought was really worth mentioning. And it's all about the low-hanging fruit, hence the low-hanging pomegranates that we can see, and the low-hanging apple in Matt's post there. And it's all about chasing what the easy wins are.
Mm-hmm. The thing which has bugged me, and it's been annoying me for really quite a long period of time, is that there's all this fluff about cross-border trade that certain companies will publish these white papers, and they're completely useless. You couldn't even use them for toilet paper. They're that bad. And that's my personal view, and I stand by it, because they're completely pointless. And the right way to do it is to go after this low, rough toilet paper.
John Wayne toilet paper.
Yeah. Pure cactus. Let's get this back down to sensibility, which is that the low-hanging fruit is that why would you want to go off and do like the hardest site first? So where did I break this down? There we go.
Yeah,
Let me get this on my screen. Okay, so this is done on sizes. So you've got United States and Canada. They're like the biggest sites. Then you've got Germany. Then you've got the United Kingdom. Then you've got the other European sites, and then you've got Australia. That's the sites, and going from big to small. And then when you break that down into languages, you've got English, German, English. You've got multiple languages, so French, Spanish, Italian, etc., etc. And then you've got English for Australia. Or you can break that down even more simply, which is easy, hard, easy, really hard, and easy. And my point is that it's which ones would you choose? Would you choose the easy ones and cut your teeth on these? And the easy ones are all English. And by the way, this does work both backwards. And now that Richard's gone, he can't beat me up on my spelling comment, which is that if you're in the UK, no, let me do this the other way. If you're in the
David from Oregon, be careful here.
Okay, so if you're in the United States and you want to sell into Australia or into the United Kingdom, then you need to spell words like colour incorrectly. You need to put a U in them, or favourite, you need to put a U in them. Whereas that if you're in the UK and you want to go to the United States, then you've got to take the U out and spell stuff wrong. Okay, and that's about it. You still have to do the difference between you still need to do the categorization, and you will still need to do the currency conversion. There's no getting around that. But the rest of your listing, the title, the description, the images, the item specifics, the bulk of the stuff, which would be really hard for you to do, isn't hard at all because it's in English. Yeah, you might have to change a few like keywords from like ladies, which is a very British term, to something like women's, if you're selling women's fashion, for example, or female fashion, for example. There's some other little things as well which you need to do your research upon as well, just to make it put it through diapers. I think, yeah, diapers. There instead of nappies, for example. There's a few little mannerisms on there, but you can just grab Google and just type in Americanisms and see what comes up. Okay, we'll just go into categories, and it's all in English for you. Why on earth would you want to go to let's pick on Amazon and eBay in Germany. Okay, so they are the second biggest site, so we know that there is traffic there. Okay, but then you get caught up into this whole different culture. Germany has a completely different culture to America and the United Kingdom and Australia. Okay, you've also got a completely different language, and when it comes to Amazon, you've got to reply back in their native language, so that if they message you in German, you've got to reply to them in Germany. All their categories are in a foreign language. Why? If you tried learning a language lately, it's really hard.
It's not half an hour of a job, is it?
No, it's taken me 35 years, and I still can't spell. So trying to learn another language is just it is like personally a write-off for me. So why would you do that?
Let's just put this in perspective, Matt. So I go to Amazon or I go to Amazon Germany. I physically cannot buy a product because I have no idea what the title says. I literally can only go for picture. I have no idea what the title says. I can't read the description. I can't read the bullet points. Now, even if you wanted to do really lazy cross-border trade, which we're not recommending, we are recommending you spend a bit of time doing this. But even if you sent your direct listings from the UK to America and there was the odd U in the wrong place, Americans can still read it. They'll still know. The only thing they'll know is that you're English, and it might take them a little longer for the product to arrive. But 9 times out of 10, they can still purchase that product. And the same with Australia. they can read 99, well, they can read 100% of it, and 99% of it will be correct. So, in Germany, not a chance. But even still, you can still do that in America and Australia.
I forgot Ireland.
Ireland as well, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. eBay told me today that eBay IE is a classic low-hanging fruit market.
Totally. Ireland's an interesting one because they don't have postcodes, which can make shipping really interesting. Indeed.
But it's just straight currency conversion into euros, which is nice and straightforward. Del, what are the extra costs involved? Brilliant question. Okay. So if you've got an anchor store, okay, so we'll work top down. Okay, so if you've got an anchor store, you should be able to list free into the international sites, except for eBay.com, where you've got to pay a cent per listing or something like that. Okay, but the other European sites are free to list in, and that includes Australia. Now, I don't know off the top of my head, and you will need to check the eBay pages because you may or may not get some extra freebie listings for the foreign sites, depending upon your shop level. Okay. Generally, what are the costs involved? Worst case, it's going to be full price of what it is going to be in that local country. Okay, so if it does cost you 10 cents to list a good till cancel listing on the eBay.com site, you would be expecting to pay that. Okay, it will either be full price or cheaper based upon your store description. In fact, that is the only reason why you would want to upgrade your eBay store. Okay, is because of the listings which you get free for instead either you want to list more items for free because you've gone over the barrier or the threshold, or you want to do international. Okay, that should be the only reason why you upgrade your eBay store, is because of the benefits which you get with it. So I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but just go and have a look at the store fees and see what you get with that on eBay, and take it from there. So worst case, it's going to be full price. Best case, it's going to be bundled in with a new eBay shop. So do check the eBay store levels. Okay. So coming back to the low-hanging fruit, low-hanging fruit is eBay Ireland, eBay.com, eBay.ca. You've got Australia as well. And again, let's just think about this for a few moments. Okay, to list onto these extra sites, you do have to go through a couple of steps. We covered this last week, and we saw how easy it is to set it up in M2E Pro. And again, I wrote a couple of notes last week to just keep us on track, but it was really straightforward. So we just created a new store view in Magento. We then saw that changed Magento a little bit. We had this extra drop-down box, and that's how we could overwrite the information if we wanted to at store view level per product. And that's how you could, we saw that we could then easily add in another currency box or another price box. So you can have different price levels for the different eBay sites. When it comes to listing, we do need to create a new listing group. But when we create that listing group with an M2E Pro, it was really straightforward. And the key point which we made is that when we created that listing group, we set the store view for Magento. Okay, and that was key because that took the store view information for the product levels, okay, from the product information, and it will also break up your orders for you on your sales orders page as well. And once you've been and done that for one eBay site, so maybe eBay.com or eBay Australia, to do that for a second site is even easier because you've already been through the process once before. And then when you move on to go into the more complex sites, so into Germany, so you have to translate your description into another language or into multiple languages, then it's exactly the same process, but you're dealing with a different language. So our kind of point is to go for the easy wins first, which is the English-speaking sites, and then build up from there. Okay. So just going through the comments up there, from a seller's point of view. Yeah, Steve, your question, forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean by low-hanging fruit? Easy pickings, totally. Yeah, the most obvious route for you to go. Okay, the easiest path for you to follow to go international, and that is to go to the other native English-speaking sites, even if they do have a few spelling mistakes. And again, that goes both ways across the pond as well. Okay. Can Magento handle the VAT for exports automatically, i.e. won't charge or will charge appropriately? Dean on the forum say he can't get his to work. I do believe that we did set them up so it should work correctly. So
there's a handful of people having a tax issue in their current M2E systems. I mean, it does seem to be very specific to, I think I've seen 3 people with it. And M2E are denying all anything to do with it because they don't think it's their problem on the latest update. But yeah, generally it should be able to work in tax, in the Magento tax settings. Yeah, like I said, Matt, I think we do cover this in one of the settings, one of the setup tutorials. Yeah.
Okay, so an open question for Chris is that have you followed our tutorials on the tax rules and imported the files which we've got, the CSV files which put it in? Yes, it did work. Okay, it's a curious one. We might have to then update it, and it sounds like M2E Pro are not taking notice of something. I don't know. It's one of those ones which I need to have a look. So I'll tell you what, open invite for you, Chris. Matt@understandinge.com. If you're free tomorrow, not morning, so probably around about lunchtime, if you can email me your phone number, okay, preferably a landline, because I get these calls for free, or your Skype details, and then we'll hook up. We use join.me, for example. We'll take a look and see if we can get to the bottom of it, because I'm sure it's something really silly, as in like something really straightforward. All right, so Chris, if we can nail it for you, I'm sure we'll probably nail the other ones in one hit as well. Okay, so Matt@understandinge.com. Send me the details across, and we'll have a look. All right, so we'll nail that one. David, just saw your question on there. Do I need to set up a bank account in the United Kingdom to set up Amazon and eBay? That's a good question, Dave. Would you like to?
It is a good question. And the answer that I would say is for Amazon, I believe you do. eBay, I'm not sure. I don't think you do with eBay. I think they can handle it all through PayPal. Now, the one thing I would suggest, Dave, if you haven't already, would be to check out the guys at WorldFirst, because I know that setting up bank accounts in foreign countries can be really annoying and really difficult to do, with lots of paperwork and all that sort of stuff. The guys at WorldFirst can sort of take that headache away. They can also manage the currency conversions for you from pounds back to dollars, and they can also do, basically they are the experts in currency conversion and can sort of advise you when the best time is to do this conversion to make you the most money, and they will generally save you 2% on whatever PayPal is, on whatever the PayPal currency conversion is. Joe, if you're asking what the pricing is like with WorldFirst, it's free to join. There's literally no cost to you as the seller. WorldFirst do take, I think, 2% on the commission, whereas PayPal takes 4%. So basically, by cutting PayPal out, you save money, they make money, everybody's happy. Yes, we have a podcast on the site. And yeah, that would be something, David, I would recommend looking into, because, like I say, if you are going to do CBT to the UK, then yeah, totally. The WorldFirst should be able to help you on that one.
Yeah, indeed. Again, let me just get this very straight. I'm always very careful of money services, okay? And Dave will testify to this, and Jason as well. I hammered that guy for about 15 minutes beforehand. I had my notepad out, I had a calculator out, and percentagecalculator.net as well. And I hammered him with numbers for a good 15 minutes before we even started the podcast to make sure that you really were getting a decent deal on what they were offering. And the short answer is yes. They make money when you transfer money. But instead of like PayPal at 4% or Amazon, I think is it 3% in currency conversions, they charge you 2% and give you and split it with you. It's a nice fair way of doing it. And they also do the other thing, which was I thought that was nice, and you can save lots of money doing that over a period of year. That was really cool. But the bit which I like the most is that they can give you a localized bank account, which is one of those really annoying barriers if you want to go and do ebay.com, okay, or amazon.com, for example, or if you want to go and do amazon.de, okay, that's one of those requirements you've got to get licked, okay. Addresses, they're not hard. Go and get yourself a forwarding address within that country. Again, off the top of my head, Parcels to Go is the company which in the back of my head which can do the forwarding addresses for you. Nice and straightforward to do.
Yeah, World First are based in the US and England, Australia. They're based pretty much in those main areas. They are looking to expand more into Europe as well. But yeah, and also for anyone who's a friend of ours, if you mention it came from Understanding E, they will usually ask you where you came from. If you tell them you came from Understanding E, then it helps us out as well. They give us an affiliate of some description.
Yeah, in the background. So try them out. If you don't like them, don't use them because it's not going to cost you anything.
Don't cost you anything.
There's the link to the podcast. Really cool guy. Quite liked him.
Yeah, cool. Jason, really cool.
Yeah, you stood up to my numbers, and I did back for a while. So moving onwards. So in just brief summary, okay, the low-hanging fruit for cross-border trade is that whatever you've heard anywhere else, it's complete tripe. Don't shoot yourselves in the feet. Don't try and do German, French, Spanish, Italian. Okay, that's not just one language. That's like 4 languages, and you probably don't know any of them. Okay, the low-hanging fruit, the easiest path, and it's a big path because remember that list that on the left-hand side, eBay, United States, Amazon.com, and the Canadian sites. They're massive sites on there. They're well-established sites, and if you want the easy route, basically you go for eBay.com. Or go for the United States, go for the United Kingdom if you're set abroad, or go for Australia, okay? You still have to go through the same kind of challenges. And at the end of that guide, which I'll put the link on the bottom of the chat, is have a read through that. And there's some practical tips at the bottom, okay? The practical tips are, the one which I avoid completely is VAT and tax because I'm not a qualified consultant or accountant or tax expert in that area. So go and read the loosely written article which I wrote on that and it'll get you in the right direction. And it's just got some plain English tips for you. You've still got to solve the primary challenge, which is number 1, getting your data onto those sites, which M2E Pro can do. And the other one is actually shipping the goods, okay? My personal tip when it comes to the actual delivery of the goods to somebody in a foreign country is if there's like a small difference in cost between a tracked and a non-tracked service, take the tracked service. All right, because in customer service, 80% of their time is going to be wrapped up in a circle trying to find a lost item or some returned item which has just got lost in the network. Okay, complete waste of you. If it's you which is doing customer support, complete waste of your time or your staff. Paid a bit of extra, so at least you've got some chance of tracking it, and you've got some defense with PayPal, for example. Okay, so just pay a little bit extra because it's just easier. All right, and we all want the easy life for it. Okay. Oh, by the way, Mark, I can see a comment on there about Web Interpret to list the top 5 sites in their native languages. Yeah, again, I go on the record for Web Interpret. I think that you should use Web Interpret. There's no 2 ways around this, okay, as proof of concept. Go and use it to help you identify which marketplace which you should go and focus your attention upon. Because if you do go and use Web Interpret, free for 30 days, by the way, Joe, okay, and you do start seeing sales in Germany, and it's really strong, okay, then that's the little flag. That's the flag. That's the somebody waving their hand, which is basically saying you should focus some attention here, okay? And then go and focus some attention. Go and do it the right way. Go and speak to like Intercultural Elements, for example. Go and get them the listings done natively. Go and do it the proper way. And the proper way is not machine translation, okay? It's a great way of testing the water, sticking your finger in the water. is it warm or not? And if it works out, pull it back out and then go and do something else and then go do it properly. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying do it properly is because you've probably spent a lot of time, effort, imagination, but writing your eBay listings, writing your titles, and you can't expect that kind of effort just to be willy-nilly duplicated in some software. That's just not going to happen. And it's unrealistic to expect something like Web Interpret to do that for you. Okay, the only way which you're going to get to the decent quality levels to do it the right way so that you have a long-standing business in these international sites is to do it the right way, and that means human translations. It means but done by a real person who can look at the product, can do the dialects, can do the mannerisms for you, and just do it the right way. Okay. So,
and I think, Matt, as well, we should sort of say that this is the route that we're taking with understanding. You know, we're doing exactly what we're preaching here. We're going the easy way, and trying to focus on America and Canada and Australia, because obviously for a lot of our content, it's me and Matt talking, unfortunately. So it doesn't work. You know, before we, you know, if we get that far and it starts looking like the German market could get a lot for it, then we have to start looking at translating the content. Easy wins for us: America, Canada, and Ireland and Australia. Hence why I'll be spending a bit of time in America later this year, is because it's the obvious choice for us to go to.
Yeah.
You should do the obvious.
Yeah. So, in summary, cross-border trade definitely should want to be considering doing that for your business, but ignore all the hard stuff. Multiple languages, you need your head read. Sorry, I'm just being very open with you. That's just like crazy stuff. Okay, take the easy route. The easy route is to choose English, because then you can got the same descriptions, the same titles, pretty much the same item specifics. Customer support is much easier. Yeah, they're in a different time zone, but we all know that we lagged a little bit on customer support anyway. So it's not really like any big headaches. The only other headache is the shipping, and we kind of covered that, which was just pay a little bit more, get there a little bit more quickly, and it's trackable, so you don't shoot yourselves in the feet when it comes to support. Okay, so Mark, just pick up your question very quickly. I hear that you can sell on Tmart Global China without too much work. If it's in English, do it. If it's not, and you don't natively speak Chinese, then unless you're sure that you're going to get results there, and you can see your products doing there and they're doing really well, I'd probably not suggest that you do it. Go for the lower hanging fruit, or if you've done the United States, you've done France, Germany, Italy, Australia, all the other major sites really, really well, and you're scratching around looking for something extra to do, then go and do it. Okay, I would probably, that would be like on the bottom of my list after I've done all the other sites and expanded out into those. Okay, that's just me being a realist, because it's just another barrier, another set of challenges in there, another language to deal with. Okay, so that's what I would look at. Okay. There's Maria, just picking up your question. Does anyone sell on Amazon Japan? They hassle me every week to set up an account. Ooh, that's a curious one.
Japan is an interesting one, because obviously not only do they have a totally different language, have a totally different alphabet. So they have kanji, which obviously is not going to be compatible with your keyboard. And yeah, that's going to be a funky one.
I don't know. I would find somebody in the Philippines who can speak Japanese.
Yeah,
very, very tough. For it. Cheap. And again, chuck some money out and see what's going on for it. So, yeah. By the way, Dell, not a low-hanging fruit. Depends on your definition. Okay, because if you've exhausted and are doing the other retail, the other marketplaces, the other countries really quite well, then the next low-hanging fruit is additional marketplaces on top. Okay, it's all about perspective here. Okay, right now, I feel the easiest perspective for the majority of you, just follow the English stuff, because it's really straightforward, because you kind of understand what me and Dave are saying, even with our Bristolian and Mancunian accents. So in the interest of time, moving on. Feedback. That's a curious one. Do you want to take this one as well, Dave?
Well, the dartboard is sort of ominous, really. Is this where they throw darts at us? I don't know.
No. I picked it up. Yeah, pick it that way. Now, the reason why I picked it up is because of the bullseye in the middle. Okay. We're looking for your feedback on anything to do with understanding E. Okay, good, bad. How do you feel that we're doing for you? Okay, and again, we do work as much as we can to get stuff out there. We do need to get some stuff done in the background, and we are getting pulled and pushed in the background. Okay, but what we're really looking for is that bullseye. Okay, because that's really important for you. It's like, imagine that it's you asking your customers how you could do better. Okay, that's what we're asking you. Okay, we don't pretend that we're perfect, but we do try, and we are trying. Okay.
Well, we've had a flow of activity on this one, Matt.
Indeed. So,
let's start at the top.
Yeah, Gary.
Export my listings.
Export my listings. Yeah, it kind of fell by the wayside. It's like, it's one of those things which I just want to get over the line, but I'm being distracted by the things in the background. Okay. After version 2 of the listing template builder, okay, I will close myself in the office for a day, or however long it takes, and get it over the line. Okay, it basically works. There's just some funky stuff on the front end which I need to sort out. Okay.
And I guess the thing with export my listings, Matt, was we with everything that we try and do, we try and focus on what we can do which will give the most people the most benefit.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
And for us, the listing template builder was going to give more people more benefit than export my listings, because people were already, already had Magento set up and blah blah blah, and that's sort of why the listing template builder pulled rank. But it's still totally, export my listings is still in the pipeline. It's still on the to-do list. It is, like I say, it's just fallen short on the priority list, but we will get around to it. Promise. Mm-hmm. Steve also comments, I find the forums difficult to navigate. Well, I had a bit of an interesting one with the forums on Friday. Mm-hmm. With the way that everyone navigates the forums differently, I'll find a way which works for us. And the way that I do it is I look at forums that I haven't read. And right next to the I haven't read button is the mark all as read button. And I had about 5 left, and I accidentally hit the read all button, and I couldn't find them, and Matt had to show me a workaround. So yeah, I understand. The forums aren't fantastic, and I'm sure there is another way they could be laid out. What are your thoughts on the forums?
It's skinnable. So I actually ripped out a load of stuff for the forums because I just wanted simple. I struggled to find threads that I visited before. It's a keep on a point. Favorites. In fact, we need favorites for the tutorials. But by the way, I'm writing on my whiteboard, so just to make you hear me tapping on the background, that's what I'm doing, because I do take your feedback really seriously. Favorites. Navigating. Simplifying. Okay, what's the wholesale forums? I quite like those guys, minus the adverts. I think that's really quite easy to use on there.
Yeah, wholesale forums are pretty nice.
Indeed.
And these at web retail are quite good too.
Yeah, totally. So I'm just reading the. So I click Open ERP. Unfortunately, I can't comment because I've not used it in a very, very long time. Gentle is a kitten in comparison. Yeah, I joke. Analogy for it. So the NEPA help with the accounts. Side note, we found this is really kicking in now. Great. That needs reading properly. So can't comment on that one. Looks like a good link. We'll see what's going on. My sales were up after finding understanding eat. Gary, that's always a good thing. Is down. My bank balance is down after funding.
God, Steve, imagine if you'd gone with eSeller Pro. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Whoops.
PM with the so you mean private messaging on the forums will be handy. Yeah, that is a feature. It's just not enabled. There is a specific reason for that, and that's something to do with the other very large community which I set up once before. We did run into some spam issues and also some abuse issues as well. So I am a little bit tentative of making that available. So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, spam. Yeah, it was a nightmare. It took me about 3 or 4 hours to unpick their mess because they did a very, very complex attack. And of course, that went off and emailed every single user. And then when you got like 5,000 plus users, that caused a lot from hell. So I'm a little bit wary on that one. And it's not your fault. You're just me just being cautious on that. Okay. Any other workarounds? Very good question. It's down to kind of like this aminosity piece as well. Is that do you want to share information? Yeah, have you seen websites getting spammed to death? Yeah, it's diabolical, and it's something trying to go a little bit careful. Maybe we open up PM messaging to users which have been in the system over X period of months or have posted X number of threads, something like that, some form of trust system which is being built in. That would be the next viable and scalable route of doing it.
I mean, does it have? Could we do an application? Could you apply to have PM turned on, and then we have to see who that member is, and if it looks dodgy? Obviously, everyone who is in here, for example, we know who you are. We know your names. Not a drama. But I mean, I think one slips through every couple of weeks where someone from some business is just pushing an extension or a service in the forums and managed to slip through, create an account, and we do tend to delete them pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but obviously we'd have to stop those people from getting the PM privileges, so to speak.
Yeah, so I love the idea. Don't get me wrong; it would be extremely invaluable for you and also for me as well. Okay, so that you could PM us login details, for example, or a screenshot, which you don't. So instead of you emailing me, because my email's horrific, it may be better to go into a private messaging system so that when I'm in the forums, I can just jump on those pieces straightforward. Yeah, maybe gate some helpers to report back. Yeah, that's totally in the plan to do. Keep an eye out for who's active, etc., and then promote. Yeah, don't worry. I've done this once before. I kind of know what I'm doing because I've made all the mistakes, and it is a bit hit and miss at times. So, yeah, absolutely.
Need a section for anything else, and also I don't know where to list widget chimp issues. We can easily add an anything else forum in there. Have we not got one already? So is it hiding? Oh, there's one in premium. I don't think there's one in the Magento.
Sorry?
Having an anything else forum. It's pretty old stuff. You know, a post, a thread.
Sorry, I've got distracted by Ron's editor as a suggestion by Jacob.
No worries. But yeah, in Steve Short, yeah, we can add in an anything else thread somewhere.
Yeah, don't forget you've got a cafe as well. The cafe should be there.
Yeah, I knew we had it there somewhere. Cafe. Anything off topic. Yeah, Cafe UE. It's not the, stick them in there. Anything you want, talk about that.
Yeah,
I knew we had some. I thought we had something.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
widget chimp issues, Matt. Do they just go straight to widget chimp?
Yeah, support at widgetchimp.com. I get notifications on my phone. I answer those before any other single email. Okay, so if you listen to this, don't abuse that, because I'll just write a rule to put you back in my main inbox and you just wait with everybody else. But on a serious point, if you do have any problems with WidgetChimp, support@widgetchimp.com. Please let me know or use the contact form. That would be amazing, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Generally, again, it's they're number one on my list for stuff that goes on during the day for it. So, if Dell, you're back on. I'm sure I changed your account. If I didn't, please kick me now. I'll go and do that in the background. Yes, cool. And are you going to update MagMe to the latest version? Yes, I am going to update MagMe to the latest version, but there's a few challenges in doing it. And right now, it's underneath the priority list. The reason being is that MagMe basically works. There is one key update in there about multiple store views, which is one reason to do it in that. But we've also got bundles. So it is on the to-do list to do, and it is. I've got it in my feedback, my little notes on my board, which I'm writing here. But it's already as an extra stripe, which is down at the bottom to follow in afterwards to get doing. Okay, so I know about it. I know there's updates. I'd like to get up to the latest version, but the current version works. And there's one thing which I've learned: if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if there was a security flaw, blah, 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 I'd be on it immediately. But as far as I can tell, there isn't. So it's going to wait a little bit while. Okay. By the way, if there's anything which, Steve, if you bought a whiteboard, best investment which I ever purchased. My whiteboard is about 2 meters wide by about 1.5 meters tall. It's absolutely monstrous. The kids come in here and they write on the bottom like 4 or 5 inches, and the rest of it is me brainstorming stuff. By the way, some weeks I won't even use it, and then other weeks I'll just fill it up. It's brilliant. So anyway, feedback. If there's anything else which springs to mind, please let myself, Dave, and me know. Support@understanding.com. Please let us know. We do value your feedback, and again, we're interested in that bullseye in the middle to make sure that we're on target, so that we're able to help you as a group and as a community. Okay. I had to get a small one. You had the rest of my money. Indeed. There you go. No. Right. Moving on. Magic wand. Here's a curious question for you. And this is like a very, very much an open question. Is that if you had a magic wand and could do anything to help you, your business, or we could publish for you on Understanding E, or we could demystify or solve for you, what would it be? Okay, I like it back at the beginning. I mentioned this is one of my favorite questions, is that what are you struggling with? What's taken up like 90% of your day? Cleaning yourself, shipping. Okay, what takes up all of your time? If you had a magic wand and you go, I've got rid of that forever, or, oh, I now know that, what would it be? Okay, that's the magic wand. That's our curious question. Okay, so David, I'm with you. I wish I could clone myself, and I used to think that actually, and then I decided that I probably need to work smarter. Okay, and on a very personal level. Okay, that's the reason why we've got Dave here, because I knew a long time ago that if I was ever to do something like this, I couldn't do it alone. Okay, and I'm so glad that I've got Dave with us for Understanding E, because I just couldn't do it by myself. And one half of me feels like that's me admitting that I'm going to fail if I don't do this, or I might not be. How can I not work from 5 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, and why can't I do that for months on end? The reality is it's going to burn you out. Okay, so cloning myself, I'm totally with you that I'd love to do that. Unfortunately, impossible. But it actually is just down to processes, and that's given me a really good idea.
Well, they did dolly the sheep, so
yeah, it's the
still human genome, which is stopping
nature and
things there.
nurture. Can you remember that from school? You might have it in the nature, but the nurture changes everything. What goes on with adoption and things like that? Quite a deep subject.
It's really interesting actually, because my girlfriend's a twin, and obviously genetically identical. Yeah, it was a twin.
Mm-hmm.
Genetically identical, but two very different people.
Mm-hmm.
Strange.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I do have a clone myself. Well, not of myself, of my missus.
Indeed. So I'm just looking at Jacob's note. Most enjoyable discussion today. 99.9% of my sales are in the USA, eBay and Amazon included. I get 5,000 hits from the UK. So maybe I'll try. If you've got basically, this goes back to WebInterpret. Okay, is that we have suggested WebInterpret to try it Germany and the European sites. If you've got web stats, which are telling you that you get 5,000 hits per month in the United Kingdom, that's that little hand waving at you, going,
Come on,
you might want to join the UK for it. So
what do you
that
think,
is that.
just out of interest? That's just me being curious. Just interested in what sort of product range it is, if you don't mind sharing. If you do, then that's fine too.
Or use the private message on the background.
Yeah, or you can private message.
Okay, and by the way, I'm noting these things down, setting up Magento properly. Magento.
We had Magni, didn't we? That's further up.
Yeah, I've got that on my list.
You got Magni? Yeah, Magni for beginners. I still don't get Magni.
We got exporting data from eBay description field for my boss into the ERP that I am building. Ooh, that's a challenge, isn't it?
Don't you go stealing Matt, because that sounds like the type of project he'd love to go and get involved in.
Well, that's export my listings, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the bright side, descriptions are really straightforward. It's the item specifics are like tricky to work around. Oh look, it's Breaking Bad. Shipping is a nightmare.
Have you seen Breaking Bad yet?
No. No.
Oh, you need to get into it. You need to, give up your night time. Give up sleep. It's worth it.
No. I sat there and watched Californication. And
that was your one,
is it 3 or 4 series of that?
I don't know. I've not seen that one.
No, I started on a Tuesday and finished on Sunday, and I've probably had about 4 hours sleep, something like that.
You did Lie to Me as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
I love Lie to Me. Yeah, Tim Roth, great character. Anyway,
again, by the way, going back to David's point earlier about cloning, is that there's also being true to yourself as well. Is that I know that I have a very addictive nature, as in that I only now play one type of game, which is World of Tanks. Don't try it, because you lose all your time on it. But I don't play the vast array of possible games out there, because I know I'll just get hooked on it and I'll just waste time for it. So I do have some luxuries, which is World of Tanks, blowing up other World War II tanks. This keeps me entertained. But sometimes it's just being aware of what's going on in the background. So if I clone myself, things would be twice as bad. Photography.
It says Steve from Confused.com. Is that Yorkshire Steve? Because that is the fantastic pessimistic attitude you come to expect from Yorkshire. I love it.
Yeah.
John from Flubbit, he was exactly the same. I loved it. It was that grim, gritty, this is how it is attitude. No bright side. Up north, it's grim.
Yeah. Okay.
Photography, that's an interesting one.
It is. That's a really curious one. I'm thinking Catherine from Remove the Background.
Yeah, she'd be good.
And also additional alternatives on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Photography.
And also and listing take forever. So maybe there's a process that we need to look into for Simon there. Photography and listing take forever.
Yeah, there's also
just due to it will take, especially if you've got the products on site, you've got to take the photos yourself. However, as we mentioned in it was in the Fling tutorial, wasn't it, Matt? Where we basically said you could set up a Dropbox where you automatically upload your pictures into Dropbox. Get an outsourced editor to take care of them, and once they're done, get them to upload them into a Fling folder, get them directly onto your Magento system, and they're ready and waiting for you when you do your listing. That's potentially one way to speed up your photography and your listing, certainly adding photographs anyway.
Yeah, I'll get you the link for that one. It's worth the time to have a look at it. Okay, definitely worth having a look at that. Okay, and learn Photoshop. Yeah,
Photoshop.
I use it daily, and I know quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Matt's brilliant in Photoshop. I'm terrible.
I'm not. The reason why I'm not is because I can't remove backgrounds and stuff. I can make snazzy looking images.
I can remove backgrounds. That's what I used to do. I can't do the cool stuff you do. I can do the boring stuff like remove backgrounds. There you go. Can you imagine that? Photoshop for beginners.
Yeah. I'm just nice suggestion. Buy that with Steve. Little light box like that.
Yeah.
By the way,
great price as well.
Yeah, and if you're on a real budget, go to IKEA, get a $3.99 opaque plastic bin, drill a hole in the bottom, and stick a light next to it. Okay, same effect. We used to do that with jewelry, and then stick the camera down the top. It would get you like 99% of the way there. That's an overestimation. 90% of the way there. A couple of quick commands in Photoshop and job done, and it will get you close enough. So if you want a really, really tight budget, £3.99 bin, £3.99 bin from IKEA, turn it upside down, drill a hole in the bottom, and the crucial point is having a decent lamp next to it. Because the thing with photography is all down to the lighting. That's what it boils down to: have uniform lighting, and having like that opaque bin or the light box like that. It's uniform lighting which makes the product look good while it's in there. Okay. Scrolling down.
GIMP. Yeah, I used GIMP for a while. It's actually not bad at all for free software. It will get you, 99% of the way there. I was hesitant Googling it, but it all worked out fine.
Yeah.
Have you ever used GIMP, Matt?
Not a long time.
Not
in a long time at all. Yeah. Photoshop's bigger than Magento. Yeah, it's used by all the creative agencies. Really good. But on the flip side, really expensive. And we have paid about 700 quid, something ridiculous. Yeah, and I've paid for the upgrade. It's just insane kind of costs. But I'm used to it. And GIMP 8 is a really good alternative on there. We'll get you on a budget, there on a budget. Okay. Just maybe put a 6,000K bulb for your box. Totally. Graphic tool, run images, fingers. Cool. GIMP.org. I use Magme for the URLs once I have them. Sometimes getting them from vendors is a pain. Yeah. So Stephen, I use Magme for the URLs once I have them. Sometimes getting them from my vendors is a pain. Daft question: do they have the image URLs on their website? For example, if they do, then you may want to have a look at a tool called iMacros. Okay, and I'll do the hard work for you. iMacros, Firefox. If I can type in the right box. It's a very, very simple add-on, and it allows you to script the web browser, and you can script it with JavaScript. Okay, it would be a brilliant job for something like Elance or something like that. And going back to the earlier suggestions would be that go and get someone else to write it for you. Tell them exactly what you want and how it should work. And I can pretty much tell you it's possible, because if you can do stuff like that on very popular websites, then a vendor's website, I've written, I don't know, 20, 25 scripts for different businesses which I've worked with in the past to do this information, to get that kind of information off their sites. It's really straightforward. Or, by the way, as an alternative, if you want to keep it in PHP, okay, by the way, I'm suggesting iMacros because it's very straightforward and you can script it if you want to. Scrap the other one is look up a class called PHP Scrappy or Scrapy. It's really, really good. Okay, that will get you the vast majority of the way there as well. So moving on, what have we got? I followed your MagMe images tutorials, but for some reason MagMe error says the path is invalid. I genuinely don't know on that one, David. So again, what I'm going to suggest there, can you send me a screenshot of what you're seeing on there? Send me the error across or post the error in the forums and I'll have a look for you. And Dave, if you see that posted in the forums, can you
send it on over?
Send it all over. That would be ace.
Jacob's actually got a suggestion, said it's probably looking for var/media/import by default. You may have specified a different path in config.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be so. I'm sure it's going to be something really, really simple. All right, David. It will either be something like file permissions. It'll be the wrong path. The thing to remember with MagMe is that the vast majority, number one, it's known to work. Okay, so it will always boil down to something like file permissions, incorrect headers, or the file's not being found, something like that. Okay, generally is a rule of thumb. MagMe is known to work, and it will always be something small which is tripping us up. Okay, just could be just wrong column header. You put category instead of categories, for example, or
a stray quote mark or a forward slash somewhere.
Yeah, it will be something really straightforward. Okay. Steve, would it be frowned upon for a premium member just for a month and cram the hell out of all the cramming all the video tutorials? No, go for it. Okay, and if you don't feel 100%, so if you go and choose premium right now, okay, and then at the end of the 30 days, you email us and said, I didn't get good value from that, I'll personally refund you the £20 back. Okay, what I'm looking for and what Dave's looking for is for you to see amazing value with the premium side. Okay, so try it for a month, cram it all in if you want to. Okay, At the end of the month, if you honestly don't feel that you didn't get amazing value from that, email us. We'll give it back. We'll give you premium membership back to you, no questions asked. And we've done it before. I've got no cons in doing it. Okay, so it's because it's got to be right for you. All right, so that's totally the reason behind it. Okay, I see that. Just looking at the message from Simon.
Oh yeah, oh, it's a funny one.
Oh yeah, it's the ID.
I destroyed it.
Yeah, you want the item ID. There we go. By the way, I love this working together here in the background as well. Hey, did you chop that out by yourself, did you? That's nice. See, that's way better editing than what I can ever do.
Yeah, it's looking good.
I don't have the patience for that. That's really good. That would have been brilliant for Amazon as well. I'm just thinking aloud as well, because they like backgrounds like that too. And then also put myself in the shoes of a potential customer. That looks really good. There isn't any like bad shadows or something we should find in lesser sellers' images. Okay, so yeah, really, really good. I like it. I really like it. Just out of curiosity, if I only had 2 of those available, would have I gone to the effort of cutting out the backgrounds to make it look good, or would I have left a white sheet of paper in the background? I don't know. Possibly not, if I'm honest, for it. So that's just me speaking openly. Okay. I've bought the item. I have loads. Don't let competitors know that. Yeah, totally. Open up the microphones. Should we do that on the next one, Dave? Next week?
Yeah, why not? Let's, I'll tell you what, next week, shall we just, people ask that we give them more notice. Do we do a Q&A one?
Yeah, please no singing, because I can't sing. It would just embarrass me. All right. Yeah, we'll just run as moderators. We'll get, like this evening, we'll get pulled off in different directions. That's to be expected. Okay, and then we'll just have a note at the beginning. We're all adults here. Okay, it's not like it's like teenagers and a room full of children. We're all competent adults. All right, so first in, first out, straightforward. Try and tackle one topic, and don't be upset if we say that we're not going to cover that topic and or we want to move on. Okay, just some basic house rules to begin with. All right, so what else we got? Excuse me, YouTube. YouTube, Understanding E, no, wrong round. There are a collection of really straightforward tutorials coming out, which we're dropping out on YouTube at the moment. And let me choose the right playlist for you. There are a collection of extra tutorials coming out. If you're not already subscribed, you might want to go and hit the subscribe button on the Understanding E channel, which you can do on that page there on the right hand side, the red button, or it's grey if you've already been subscribed. They're just some really straightforward one. Basically, we think we can do better than M2E Pro with their tutorials, and that's what we're doing in the background. And again, they're already pre-recorded. There's a whole load extra ones which we're going to be dropping out for the rest of the week as well. So we don't know if you're going to find them useful or not, but that's where also the forums questions are going in as well. So if you're not already subscribed, go and get yourself subscribed up. And any other business? Ad hoc YouTube videos, just mentioned. Yep. Template Builder, version 2, next week. Really cool. Oh, that is just so cool. Puts you in control. That's what I'm saying, you know. Previous happy hour recordings. I know that I need to do it.
But Dale called us out on them within 5 minutes. So that saved us having to address those ones. Yes, we are sorry. Like I said, got drawn off topic a little bit last week with Magento Go News. But yes, we do know. I think Dale's counting. We're 4 or 5 behind. We will get them out as soon as possible. There'll be. We've got a category on the website for them, haven't we? Happy hours. We'll stick on there. Okay.
It's just straightforward. In fact, no apologies for not getting them out. It's straightforward internal priorities. We've got other stuff which we need to get in first, which right now we prioritize as being higher on our list of stuff to be done. Like, because you're going to be expecting the category tutorials quite soon. Okay, and I know that they're going to be late. Okay, and we just want to get through them. We do want to get them out for you. It's not like they're deleted. We can never get them back. We've got copies. They've already been edited, but they do need for us to sit down and actually listen to them because there's a few sensitive pieces in there. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, it's not because we want to withhold it. Well, there's one which you know that we want to withhold, which is about the responsive listing template builder. We've been quite open about that one. That one won't get published, but all the other ones, fair game. Just need to get it done. Yeah, put it on your whiteboard. Just do it. Yeah. But there's things above that, way above that, which need to get done first. All right. And interview happy hour.
Yeah, this is me. I did this one in Matt. For those who don't know, Matt is escaping for a week or so at the end of July. So I'm figuring that happy hour, we should use the opportunity, like we did with Richard and Yaniv and with Mario, to hear from you guys again. So, like I said, I will be the only person here, but it'd be cool to get some of you guys involved. And like I said, we do the interview where we talk about your business. And like again, like we did with Richard and Yaniv, 3 simple questions, and just to, break it up a bit rather than hear just me talk for half an hour to an hour. If that is interesting to you, I know Pat was interested, but he's not in tonight. If you're interested, then let me know. Dave@understandinge.com, like I said, and we'll do some tests, make sure your microphone's working and we can all hear you okay. And yeah, I just thought that would be a nice thing to do. Like I said, while Matt's away, I'm keen to avoid anything heavy on Magni or Magento. So that seemed like a nice compromise.
Indeed. And next week, if you would like to join in, because I like the suggestion, there's openness for conversation right up. Just the one practical point, you will need a dedicated headset and microphone. Okay, so laptop microphone and headsets, probably not the best idea because the feedback will pick up background noise in the background. Like I could hear my kids in the background. The the girls next door that thankfully have gone to sleep now. But if I was on a normal microphone or on a laptop, then they would have picked it up. So just look out of courtesy for everybody else. If you can get just a headset which you can borrow, let's do it. Totally. I'm well up for that. Sounds like a great idea. So on that note, thank you for joining us this evening. We've on a personal level, I've really appreciated your feedback, and I'm just turning around and looking at my whiteboard, export my listings, navigate in the forums, remove button for Dave, favorites, navigation. I don't know what I actually wrote there. What did I write there?
It's like me every time I write something down.
I don't know. Oh, PM system with ratings and the ability to turn it on.
Yes.
Okay. And then also like with your feedback as well. Listing, it's Magento photography came up. Maybe back to that Excel spreadsheet which we mentioned back at the beginning, Dave. Shipping, things like that to trying to help you work smarter through the day. Okay, yeah, the tool which I've got in my head is using Excel, and it will take you some time to work out. And if Excel's not your thing, that you might have to pay someone to do it for you. But if it's going to save you even 20 minutes a day, 20 times 5, it's a lot of time in a week. Times that by months, it's going to get back. Okay. David, just reading your comment there, managed to load the bundles plugin. Would it be possible, Matt, to post a quick sample Excel file? I've not had chance to get to that bundles plugin, David. Again, I'm working to another set of priorities which we're not telling you about right now, and we need to get those things first. Okay, but the bundles plugin will be in the updated version of the UE version of MagMe, that's for sure. And I'd love to get that bundles plugin sorted because it is got so much potential in it. So much potential in it. So I'll put bundles plugin on my whiteboard as well. Bundles plugin tutorial plus examples. Ace. Cool things. So have a quick look. Sorry, there's a couple of extra questions coming in. From Stephen, how are you guys dealing with YouTube old embed code for your eBay not showing up on iPhones? They're just blank for me. Yeah, it's called Flash. The old embed code uses Flash, and Flash isn't supported on the iPhone.
Good old iPhone.
The other code, which is using an iframe, is like there's lines which I won't cross, believe it or not. One of those lines is telling you how you can get an iframe into an eBay listing. Don't want to go there. If I'm very, very open with you, I don't want to go to that level. So unfortunately, if it's an iPhone, then it's just going to be blank for it. Yeah, good plug on TameBay last week. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. That was a nice phone call from Chris. And again, Chris, if you listen to this, thank you for phoning me on that one. I think it's formatting YouTube video, new template, HTML5. Ace, glad to hear that, Jacob. I really am. Okay. Yeah, oh, that's a good point by Dell.
Yeah, use the YouTube app. Yeah.
No. Dell's stumbled across the dumbest, not the dumbest, the simplest way of doing it. Keep it simple, stupid. Which is, Stephen, if the old embed code isn't working for you, a link will do. So underneath your YouTube video, why don't you make a link to the YouTube video? So if the player doesn't show, at least that they've got a link to the YouTube video so that they can then go and watch it. That's a nice, very simple and viable alternative for you. Okay. So if it doesn't show, maybe it's like a little line of text. You could also watch this video on YouTube, and it's a nice link. Okay, eBay are not going to slap you for that link.
No.
Okay. Again, depending upon the video content, if it's just a video content, go and see my website at understanding.com. That will get you. They probably won't like that. But if it's about the product and there's a tiny little bit at the end, that's generally okay. All right, should be really straightforward. Dell, you're a genius. That is the simplest way around it. put an extra bit of text underneath with the link to it.
Good workaround. Sadly, it won't have the same effect of keeping people on your listing longer, which is one of the benefits, is that, the longer someone's on your listing, the more likely they are to buy. But would you rather someone watch your video or not watch it? Yeah, totally you want them to watch it. So, yeah, link is better than nothing at all.
Yeah, Steve, I linked to my website and eBay cancelled all my listings. I can tell you for a fact that you're not the only person in this little group here who's had that done to them as well. And trust me, I've been slapped for more naughtier things than that as well. So, yeah, it happens to the best of us. Good lad. Anyway, coming back on the topic. You link to your website and YouTube listing, then link to eBay. You'll get around that way, Steve. There you go. Nice practical advice. So there's a new Google concept to take you to YouTube or Google Maps. I was going to link to a support page. So I'm just letting you guys chat in the background.
Sure, Matt, while they're talking, what we do tomorrow?
We've got 2 video tutorials so we can finish off those 4. I've got to render those other 2 videos tomorrow back from Adrian.
Yeah.
And we've also got to do the outline for the tutorials for the category menu bars at the top and how to categorize items. That needs to get licked. But that's really cool because once we've done the category menu at the top, it's then we're on to category pages, and category pages are like really easy. In fact, I'll probably need about an hour to get some HTML templates so that these guys can copy and paste them in. So they have great looking category headers. You can do sliders as well for those categories too, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
but I want to say
that's on the Ultimate demo, isn't it? On one of their demo sites.
Yeah. But I want to leave that for later on. So we can just go with straight images to begin with, because that's like the easy way of doing it. And on the flip side is that you can also put those sliders on your homepage. That's how they're powered. But you can also make up additional ones, trying to keep it really simple. So I probably won't touch like proper sliders on the category page to begin with, but at least we'll see we can put content at the top, content at the bottom. Again, I'm thinking about what's that American footwear company which Amazon bought?
Zappos.
Yeah,
Zappos, that's the one.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if any of you read the story about Zappos, brilliant book.
Great story. Yeah.
Great story. The audiobook's really, really good. That was my favourite. One of my favourite ones to listen to. Anyway, they do a lot of stuff at the bottom of their category pages, which is really curious because if you think about it,
sort of against the norm, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. They do like massive category bottoms for them. But who wrote? Was it Dimitri which mentioned the 10 times book?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Stephen, you're reading it now. I've still to start it. I've got it, but I've not started it yet. It is on my to read list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
really,
got it great as well, man, didn't you?
Yeah, 4 points. Really straightforward. You got victims, lazy people which don't do anything. You've got, I can't remember what number 2 is. Then you've got number 3, which is average Joe. That's everybody else who is not in this room this evening. Okay, that's everybody else. And then you've got some people like you, which is you do 10 times more effort than anybody else. Okay, Del, it's called the 10 times rule. In fact, I'll get you
Grant Cardone.
Yeah, just go to Amazon.co.uk. 10 times rule. Brilliant book. Really, really enjoy it. 10 times rule.
Stephen, kind of over the top a bit at times, but very good. I think all of my favourite books do go over the top, and that's one of the reasons why I like them. But 4-Hour Workweek, another great example of that. It takes it to the extreme and beyond reality in places, but it just hammers on the general message, I find. The key is not to take it too literally, but, take the message.
Yeah, indeed. Is it like 4-Hour Workweek? That's, again, my personal conclusion, it's too destructive. But on the flip side, it's very constructive in some points. Like, I don't listen to the news, for example, because it's always negative for it. So I don't even watch the TV, and it's what's the two American guys? Fast and Loud, for example. Quite like that. That's the only thing which will drag me away. But anyway, Steve's got a really good point. We've got to shoot. Okay, yes. So thank you for joining us this evening. Really appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next week. Okay, and get a microphone for next week. We're going to open the floor up. Okay, we will test you one at a time just to make sure your microphones are working. And on that note, for myself, Matt,
and from me, Dave,
Weetabix. Cheerios.
Right, Christmas.
All right. We really appreciate you turning up. Thank you.
Yes, and the feedback was brilliant.
Yes.
See you soon, guys.
Cheerios. Bye.